The permabed system is all about organizing diverse abundance. We want the goods and services of ecosystems, but actually we want these to be edible ecosystems. So it's about mimicking the form of a forest and the function of the forest so that we can have an edible, abundant ecosystem. This is something that the permabed system can help us with. The permabed system allows us to have soil integrity because it uses permanent raised beds. Instead of being on the flat ground, the beds are raised up. This could be 3 to 4 feet wide and 1 to 2 to 3 feet tall, depending on what you're going to plant and how you want to manage it. But overall, no matter what, you're ending up with soil integrity because this area in the middle of the bed is not going to be compacted easily compared to flat land management. It's going to be able to have abundance of mycorrhizal fungi, nitrogen-fixing bacteria, and many other organisms in the soil that allow a functioning soil food web, which actually sequester and fix, store and cycle and release nutrients. It also allows the integrity of the soil to have a proper ratio of pore space or porosity or openings in the soil so that there's good room for air for aerobic conditions and good room for water so the water can hydrate plants and provide nutrients to the plants in a soil water solution. So the number one benefit and principle of permabeds is soil integrity, but also it allows uniform management. You can specify a width of bed, you can specify a height of bed, a bed top width, a length can be specified, though that can vary more upon the site. And all of this allows you to come up with a specific management scenario, equipment, tools, techniques that are used for any one bed. By doing this, you can then use those tools and techniques and adjust them for different plants that are planted into the guilds of these beds. You can make adjustments within a uniform management system. So that is another benefit and principle of the permabeds. But last of all, it allows organization of diversity. Because permabeds are permanent raised beds, you can actually build multiple permanent raised beds and they have a fixed place in space. It's not like a yard where there's just a bunch of lawn and you don't really have any sense of any one location. Rather, it's like a tiled patio where you can have every tile a different color and you can stand on any one tile and say, this tile is the red tile, this is the blue tile. So we can have beds where we assign different values to them, like this picture of a triad, which is my word for 3-bed system, 3 permabeds, and you can say this middle bed in this triad, say this is along the front of a suburban yard, and then over here is perhaps the sidewalk. You can say that this middle bed is going into fruit trees. And as part of the bed's guild, there's a young maple tree growing in the shade and maybe some thyme ground cover. But then this bed where it's on the sunny side, you can assign to asparagus. And you're taking into consideration with the asparagus that the asparagus is going to love that summer sun early in the spring as well, and it's actually going to be harvested so that you can access the fruit when the fruit is ready. So you can actually walk then, kind of right over the bed or even set up a ladder here and access your fruit. So that accessibility is key to the design. But also it's taken into consideration companionship opportunities of the different plants. For over here in the shade, we might decide to plant some black currants and maybe even put some mint in here along on the edge. And this allows these plants to still produce a lot and be profitable if it's a market garden, or productive and enjoyable if it's a homestead in the shade of the fruit tree. So you're taking into account the ecosystem that you're developing here. So the guild, the triad, the 3-bed system of permabeds allows you to develop organized diversity for profitability, for productivity, for beauty, whether it's a landscape, a bike lane, a city park, whether it's a homestead or a home, or whether it's a commercial farm. It allows the organization of that diversity. So permabeds allow the organization of diverse abundance. It allows us to mimic ecosystems, creating edible ecosystems with benefits, many goods and services for society. We mimic the ecosystem's form and function, but we put it within the framework of triads of 3-bed systems of permanent raised beds, because permabeds allow for soil integrity. They provide a unit for management that's uniform, and they give us a system for organizing diversity for productivity.